Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. Today we're going to be looking at a smaller sized tactical LED flashlight. It comes from a company called Cyclops. This is the model number TF-150. So yes, I'm doing a review on yet another LED flashlight. It's because I know a lot of my reviews, almost all of them, have me bringing stuff in from overseas, and I thought it would be a good change of pace to actually get something in review that you can actually get here. No need to import it. So where do you get this from? You can go to the website there for Cyclops. I believe it's Cyclops Solutions, although you can just go to your search bar, type in Cyclops, then type in TF-150, and probably the first thing will pop up will probably be their homepage, which I believe again is Cyclops Solutions. But anyway, okay. So at the time of me filming this, it is in stock, and it comes with an MSRP of $15 or $14.99 to be exact. So that price is actually relatively important because I have quite a few, and it sort of goes for other people as well. I have quite a few of nice flashlights, but I don't usually bring them out with me because I don't want to lose them. However, at $15, I can afford to lose this. Alright, so here's the front. You've been seeing this, so we'll look over here at their highlights. So I'll let you read those. I'll kind of pan it by the camera. Okay, and notice one thing here. It says right here, so spot to flood, magnifier beam, distance up to 75 meters. Then here, spot to flood, magnifier beam, distance up to 75 meters. I don't know why they repeated the same bullet point twice. Is it a huge thing? No, but it's kind of like you need to proofread your stuff before you, go to packaging with it and mass produce it. But anyway, moving on. So 150 lumens, there you go. That's what they consider to be lightweight there. And then IPX4 rating. So yeah, I don't think you're going to be dunking this in water. It's not a submersible deal. It's more of a weather ready, or what they call weatherproof, but not waterproof. Yeah, so think rain splashing and stuff like that. Okay, there we go. Again, talking about it being lightweight. Notice that we have two different languages here. So kind of gives you an idea of what market this was meant to be sold in. And yes, by the way, this is made in China. We'll look at on the back in a bit. So it does use a Cree bulb. We do get a battery. As you saw, this appears to be an Energizer battery. It's one of those that's not meant for individual cell. But it doesn't seem to be Energizer. We'll confirm that when I can actually get it out and turn the thing around. All right, next. Got back. Okay, 5 watt. Of course, it has a clicky switch on the back. Got a preview what the head of it looks like on the tail. Apparently, we get a wrist strap included. Anodized aluminum alloy housing. And there's a strap. And then, of course, there's the item there, which we'll look at once I get it out of the box. Okay, so here, there's what I was saying. It's made in China. And then there's, I guess, the company that's stateside pushing it out. Alright, so overall impressions of the packaging, and yes, I'll make this bit quick. It's good, but again, it's what I would expect for an item that's being sold over here in this market and of this type. So we have a retail hanger there. It's in the clamshell plastic, which does a great job of containing the item, protecting it from getting dirty, and of course, also, it does make it harder to steal because it's this big now instead of just being as big as the flashlight, the battery, and the little strap. Alright, so I went ahead and cut around the edges here with a scissor to open it. So, if I was successful, I should be able to split this in half. And there we are. So you can see the card. Go ahead and just take the item. Okay, there was an instruction manual, and can't forget on this side we also have our battery. So open that. There we are. Okay, so that's empty now. Okay. Check out the battery first. So there you are. It is in fact an Energizer Max. And let's look at the expiration date. Let me see if I can find it here. Alright, wow. Oh wait, there it is. 12. It is 12 of, so December of 2031. So yes, getting a good amount of time. So it is a fresh battery. And again, it is a branded, I'd say on the premium side, battery. Now, it might be a small thing, but it's always nice to see them give you an actually quality alkaline as opposed to those really crummy, sometimes not even alkaline batteries. So yeah, so that's good. All right, plus on that. Now what else do we have? We had this little manual right here, or we'll see what it is. Yeah, it is instructions. So there you are, just to see. It does come with instructions. And oh, it looks like I have the other side for English, right? Ah, there we go. So there, instructions in English, and I'm pretty sure. Let me see. I think that's French. Okay. Okay. Now let's look at the actual item. Let me zoom. All right, there we are. Cyclops. Okay, so the lanyard is attached off to the side, so you can still use the push button on the back on the unobstructed. Okay. This here, a little bit of texture, but I would say overall smooth for that part right there. You do have how many flat sides here? 1, 2, yeah, so 2 flats for grip, and then this side here has these little slots. But okay, then up here, this grip, just like the back, there is a very limited amount of grip, but overall, again, I would say smooth. And then we'll take a look at the lens and bulb, of course. There you have it. We'll see, is this glass or plastic? It's kind of hard to tell. I don't want to really damage or scratch it, but I'm gonna guess plastic for right now. If I don't come back and say otherwise, that's plastic. Now, as far as the bezel, it's not very aggressive. It does obviously go above the level of the lens, but not by much. And the protrusions are really tame. Basically, what I mean is how far do these farther out bits poke, and they do not poke very much higher than this little recess here. So I would not call this a strike bezel. So I mean, if you're looking to do self-defense type stuff with it, you're not going to get much out of that. But it is what it is. Okay, now it says it has the slide. Wait, let me look at the directions really quick. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, to remove the battery, you twist this down here. To do the zoom, apparently you twist this. Oh yeah, look at that. So you can see it got long. There you go. And to go like this. Now, let me test something. Does it have to be a screw? Now, I hope it is actually where you have to turn it to get it to do the zoom out and zoom out, zoom in. But let's see if you can just go ahead and force it. Okay, you cannot just pull it out. You actually have to do the turn. So that is a definite plus. In case you're not sure why I mentioned that, is because on cheaper versions, you just slide this in and out. And so, as you can imagine, sometimes it's zoomed out when you don't want it to be, and more important than that even is because it becomes the most brittle part of the unit, because when it's zoomed all the way out, the front would rock, or I guess it would move in proportion, in relation to the rest of the unit. So the end would kind of be flopping up and down, and it just was not very sturdy. So the fact that it has this thread in here, apparently, keeps it locked where you want it, and it makes it more rigid. So that's a definite plus. So I was kind of actually worried about that, but it looks like they took care of that, so that's good. Here we have our clicky, so let's look at the back here. There's texture, as you can see in this one, but there is texture on this button. And of course we got to do the click test, so here it is. Okay, yep, just as you'd expect. Okay, and now let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, back. Yeah, they had this on there very tight. So I had to get a little extra grip to get it off, but that's taken care of now, so here we are. So there's your tail cap. The spring on this side, as normally is the case. Right, give you an idea, you can look at those threads in there. So, okay. And then on this side, let me zoom in. Alright, better. And it does in fact have a seal here, an O-ring. See it right there. Okay, and then down the barrel. Yeah, it just looks dark in there. Oh, yeah. So it's just the other terminals on the this end. So nothing really much to see in there. All right, so I got the battery in there, hanging it off the wrist using the lanyard. It's a good weight. It's pretty much what I'd expect. In fact, I would say it's a tad bit heavier than the some of the other cheap knockoffs. So perhaps this metal is a little bit more robust. Again, it's not heavy by any means, but it does feel a little better. Some of the cheaper ones, you can feel the aluminum so thin that it almost feels like you could just press really hard and bend it in, maybe. This does not feel that way. This does feel a little more substantial, so that's another plus. All right, time to test it out. All right, so I'm about ready to go ahead and test out the flashlight here. I just wanted to give you an idea of the setup that I'm using. I'll be shining the flashlight at that door. The reason I'm going to be shining at the door and not like a white wall is because the amount of light that's reflected, i.e. what you're going to see on camera, if it's too much, it kind of overloads the sensor in the camera, and all you're going to see is just a really bright white light or whatever. So to get a better idea of how bright the light is, I'm going to shine it at something that soaks up some of the light so that you, again, get a better idea instead of just having glare shine into the lens here of the camera. Okay, now on top of that, I'm also going to be using a little lantern before I actually test out the flashlight, and that'll just be so that there's enough light in the room for the camera to focus. So, alright, so then, of course, the main lights in the room will be off. Okay? Alright, so let's get this on the way. Okay, so that's the lantern. Turning off the lantern. Alright, here we go. Let me get in position. Okay. Alright. So this is the lens and flood mode. Okay, so not zoomed in. Okay. Now we'll zoom in. And that's max right there. Zooming back out. Alright, so that was good. However, I would like to get a more objective rating of just how bright it is. So I decided to put this through a couple tests. And in order to do the brightness, I decided to use my lux meter. So I have a device that measures brightness, but it measures in lux, not lumens. So what I did is I kind of did a little setup, basically shot this straight at the sensor. And I recorded two ratings, one for when this thing is screwed all the way in, so that would be flood mode, and then when this is all the way screwed out, so that would be max zoom in, right, or max zoom. And of course got two different ratings, and I'll put those up in the slide. And also in the slide you're going to see like just how far away this was and all that stuff. So if you wanted to, you could, I guess, do the math to figure out how many lumens it is. So I'll put that slide up here. Okay, so I have a couple other things I wanted to show you from little tests I did, and so let's just kind of get on the same page as far as terminology goes. As you know, this thing, when it's all the way screwed in, it's in flood mode, as what they would call it, and I'm just going to say that flood mode is going to be default, okay? This is the default position for the flashlight, and so in the rest of these things are going to be using this flashlight in default mode, right? So the first one is I wanted to show you a picture of what the beam pattern looks like on a wall, and so that you can actually see how well the edges are defined. So here's that picture. Okay, and since we're talking about beam pattern, I went ahead and actually drew up in paint a to-scale picture of what the beam pattern looks like out of this thing. So in the picture you're going to see a little black line that's on the bottom, and it's kind of like in a vertical position like the flashlight is here, and that of course represents the flashlight, and then the blue triangle coming out is of course, as you can guess, the light pattern. So here's that. Alright, so before we get to the conclusion on this device, I would go ahead and do a quick disclaimer, and that's regarding my use of this flashlight, and that is to say that I've used this flashlight for basically only what it took to make this video. So what you saw in this video, and of course a couple tests I did off camera, like the lux meter and all that, but all those tests were done in a controlled environment, and this thing was being babied the whole time. So, that being said, how long this thing will last and just how much abuse you can put it through, I actually can't tell you. What I can tell you is that this thing feels pretty well built, especially with the whole screw in and screw out to get the zoom to work, is going to make this a lot more durable than the cheap slide in, slide out variety. So, that's good. And one thing I can say, and it's not because I had any bad experience with this, it's just I've had flashlights kind of like this and around the same price bracket and with very similar design. And I can tell you the one weak point was, you probably can guess it, it's this big lens here. And on those other flashlights, I found if you knock this thing hard enough, the head, the adhesive that holds in the lens, it can just give way and the whole lens just rolls out. And so, yeah, then your flashlight's pretty much kaput unless you find the lens and fix it, and even so, it probably won't be the same afterwards. So, that being said, I'd protect this lens, but other than that, you should be fine, at least from what I can tell. So, alright, now let's go ahead and get to the conclusion. Would I recommend this device? Yeah, for $15, I really don't know what else you could expect for that. I actually think that's quite a steal for what you're getting here. And I have had plenty of flashlights that are very similar to this and also in the same price range, and they haven't been this good. And namely, I'm talking about those ones. You've probably seen them online on that shopping site that starts with an A, where you can buy like 10 flashlights for like what, maybe like $20 or something. You get the point. And you wonder just how good can anyway, and I actually did a review on one of those kind of bargain basement flashlights that's kind of in this tactical design, so you can go check that out. But anyway, this is better than those, just from what I could tell already. And I think, yeah, again, for $15, and consider you're also getting the battery with it. And yeah, so why wouldn't you get this flashlight? Anyway, that's it for today. Bye-bye.